Hey guys, Brad Danger here, and did you know that BMW has never built a bad car? Yeah, well, no. Sometimes it's good, yet nobody actually buys it, and this is the story of the BMW XM, BMW's boldest SUV, BMW's attempt to crash the ultra-luxury, ultra-loud, ultra-flex SUV party, and somehow, someway, it became BMW's worst-selling vehicle in the United States, which sounds shocking until you actually look at it for more than 5 seconds. And first, we need to be very clear here about the one thing in front of us, and that is BMW defenders are already warming up their keyboards. So, the XM, it's not slow. The XM, it's not underpowered. The XM, it's not poorly engineered. This is not a BMW forgot how to build cars video. This is a BMW forgot who they are and who this car is for video. Because the XM isn't just a bad seller, it's a masterclass in brand confusion. BMW didn't accidentally make the XM. They didn't stumble into it. This wasn't a weird side project that got out of hand. This was intentional, strategic, planned. BMW looked at the market and said, look at all this money changing hands. Lamborghini Urus, Mercedes G-Wagen, Bentley Bentayga, Aston Martin DBX. I mean, people dropping $150,000 to $300,000 on an SUV to go to Costco? Well, BMW was like, why not us? On paper, that makes sense. BMW already sells a ton of SUVs. The X5 prints money. The X7 is everywhere. The X5M exists. The X6M exists. They already had the hardware, the engines, the tech. So BMW decided to go above all of that. Not a better X5M, not a more luxurious X7M, something entirely new, a standalone M Halo SUV, the XM. And that decision right there is where everything starts to go way wrong, because BMW already had performance SUVs that made actual sense and money sense too. The X5M is excellent. It's brutally fast, drives shockingly well for its size, looks aggressive without being cartoonish, and costs significantly less than an XM. Same goes for the X6M if you're into coupe SUV nonsense. Quick, Rocky from New York already drove off with the first GTR and the bonus cash that changed his life. We literally flew him out here. He hung out with us for the whole weekend. We shipped his car back home to New York, and the dude had the time of his life. It genuinely changed everything for him. And now it's your turn. If you want a shot at winning your dream car plus bonus cash, hit the link in the pinned first comment right now. Now, back to the show. So the XM, it couldn't just be better, it had to be different, and BMW went all in on different. Design first, and yeah, we have to talk about that. BMW's design language over the last few years has been polarizing, to put it politely. Big grills, sharp angles, loud surfaces. Some people love it, some people hate it, but most BMWs still look like BMWs. The XM kind of looks like it escaped the concept car studio at 3 in the morning after everyone else went home. The proportions are weird. The grille is enormous. The lighting is split in ways that feel hostile. The rear looks like it's trying to bench press the road. It doesn't look sleek. It doesn't look elegant. It doesn't look athletic. It looks angry and confused. And here is the billion-dollar problem. At this price point, looks matter more than almost anything else. You can get away with ugly if you're cheap. You can get away with weird if you're exotic. You cannot get away with ugly and expensive and mainstream badged. Lamborghini can sell the Urus because it still looks like a Lamborghini. It screams excess, but it screams it in a way that aligns with the brand. Mercedes can sell the G-Wagen because it's iconic. It hasn't changed in decades. It's unapologetically boxy and absurd, and that's the appeal. Bentley can sell the Bentayga because it oozes old money luxury. It looks expensive even when it's parked. And the XM clearly doesn't do any of that. It doesn't look like a classic BMW. It doesn't look timeless. It doesn't look refined. It looks like BMW tried to design a car for Instagram comments. Damn! And our friends over at Reddit noticed immediately when your most upvoted comment is, it looks like it would be good at finding truffles, you've already lost the vibe war. But design alone doesn't kill a vehicle, especially not in this segment. Pricing does, and the XM is insanely expensive. We're talking well into the 6-figure territory before options. The red label version pushes it even further into this is someone's house money. And at that price, buyers get extremely picky. And here is the brutal truth. If you're spending that kind of money, you're not comparing spec sheets, you're comparing status. And this is where BMW misjudged the room. BMW, it's a premium brand. BMW, it's a performance brand. BMW is not a flex-first ultra-luxury brand. Saying, I drive a BMW does not hit the same as saying, I drive a Lamborghini, no matter how much horsepower you add. That doesn't mean BMW is worse, it means the badge carries a different weight. If you want a fast, practical luxury SUV, the X5M already exists, or just get an X540i and use that B58 to its full potential. I mean, it's cheaper, it drives better, it looks better to most people, it does the BMW thing perfectly. So why would someone spend tens of thousands more on an XM? That's the question BMW never really answered, and that's where a car's value proposition boils down to because it's the most expensive BMW. Well, when that's your buyer pool, it shrinks into this tiny group of people on autopilot, and that group, it does exist. It's small though. Now, let's talk about performance because this is where BMW fans start to get very defensive. Yes, the XM is super powerful. I mean, it's got a V8 plug-in hybrid setup and the numbers are extremely impressive, but performance in a vacuum doesn't matter. The XM doesn't drive as well as the X5M. Multiple reviews have pointed that out. I mean, it's heavier, it feels less connected. The hybrid system adds complexity without adding joy. It's not as sharp as an M car should be, and that is a big problem because BMW built its entire reputation on the idea of the ultimate driving machine. When your flagship M product doesn't feel like the best driving SUV that you make, enthusiasts check out immediately. Then there is the luxury side. If you want plushness, the X7, it exists. It's quieter, it's roomier, it's way more comfortable. It looks less aggressive, but more expensive. So the XM is stuck somewhere in the middle. Not the best driver, not the best luxury experience, not the best value, just the most extreme. And extremity without clarity is very dangerous. BMW also tried to position the XM as a lifestyle object. They talked about artists, creatives, young, bold buyers, fashion-forward people like your boy. And that sounded great until you remember those people don't have 150 grand just laying around for a BMW SUV. I don't. The actual buyers at this price point are wealthy professionals, business owners, investors, people who want something that makes sense socially as well as mechanically. And socially, the XM is kind of that awkward kid in middle school. It's too loud for old money buyers, too expensive for younger buyers, too weird for traditional BMW buyers, which leads us to the biggest issue of all. The XM has no natural audience. Every successful car has a clear buyer. The Urus buyer wants a Lamborghini badge with 4 doors. The G-Wagen buyer wants status and history. The Cayenne, well, they just are a spicy buyer that wants performance and subtlety. The XM though, what? Who wants that thing? To stand out, the Urus does that better. To drive hard, the X5M does that better. To be comfortable, well, all the other cars that I have called out and the X7 does it better. So what's left? Bragging rights. Yeah, and bragging rights alone aren't enough to sustain sales. That's why you see XM sitting in showrooms for months or years. That's why dealers are discounting them heavily. That's why used examples are already depreciating like 50% over the first year. This isn't about enthusiasts being stuck in the past. It's about value alignment. BMW made a car that doesn't align with what people want from BMW at that price. And honestly, probably the saddest part for me and probably you is that BMW didn't need to do this. They already had winning formulas. They could have made a more refined X5M. They could have made an electrified M sedan. They could have even leaned into lightweight performance, and instead they just chased a segment that looks lucrative on paper but is brutally unforgiving in reality. Now, to be fair, globally, BMW will argue the XM isn't a failure. They point out to worldwide numbers all the time and they say, somehow, this thing is profitable. They say it's a halo, and maybe it is. But in the US, the market BMW expected to love this thing, it's a total flop. And that should tell you something because American buyers understand big SUVs. Oh, don't they? They understand excess. Oh yeah, they understand flex. Oh, I know, but they also understand when something doesn't make sense. The XM feels like BMW trying to be someone else. And historically, BMW only wins when it's unapologetically BMW. This car didn't fail because it was ugly. It didn't fail because it was expensive. It failed because it forgot its identity. The XM is probably and will be a footnote, a weird chapter, a car people talk about years from now and say, remember when BMW did that thing? Yeah, and maybe one day a tiny group of enthusiasts will love it. Ironically, that happens with everything eventually. Just look at the Isetta. But for now, it stands as a warning. You can't brute force your way into a segment with horsepower and price alone. You need coherence, you need clarity, you need a reason to exist. And the BMW XM never really found one. That's why it's BMW's worst selling car in the US. Not because people hate it, but because BMW forgot what people love about BMW. And at that level, that mistake cost them billions. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, turn on that notification bell. Let me know in the comments down below. What do you think of the XM? Would you buy one for 90% off? Well, I think I would. But let me know in the comments down below. Remember to go to winthisIdealCar.com to get entered to win your dream car plus cash, and check out some of these Ideal vids over here. I'm Brad Danger. This is Ideal. We'll catch you next week, and promise me one thing: keep living the Ideal lifestyle.